Picture yourself at a crowded party. Across the room, you notice two very different people. The first is steady, present, kind, and a little slow to reveal themselves. The second is entirely different, charged, unpredictable, warm in quick bursts, and suddenly unavailable. If we were to ask someone with a secure attachment history to evaluate both strangers, their reaction would be straightforward. To them, the steady person is quietly compelling. That charged, chaotic person looks exhausting and, frankly, like a bad idea. But if your nervous system is running an older, more anxious template, your internal verdict flips completely. That steady person registers as flat, boring, nice, but nothing. Then your eyes lock onto the chaotic stranger, and your whole body sits up. It feels electric. It feels like fate. The people in the room haven't changed, but the reality does. Why does the wrong person so often feel like coming home, while the genuinely kind one feels like nothing at all? We often mistake a template for a type. You are auditioning new faces for a play your nervous system finished writing before you turned 6. Every intense rush is a memory wearing a new face, pulling you toward an old, familiar scene. The psychoanalyst John Bowlby called this childhood script the internal working model. When you were small, your nervous system paid total attention to how the people who raised you behaved. It absorbed the exact cost of love, recording every moment of warmth and every sudden absence, and it assembled those patterns into a rigid physical blueprint. This blueprint creates a dangerous sorting rule for the rest of your life. Your body avoids categorizing romantic prospects as healthy or unhealthy. Instead, it sorts them strictly into familiar or unfamiliar. If you grew up learning love in a chaotic environment where affection had to be chased or earned, chaos became your baseline. To your body, familiar feels like safe, even when that familiarity is the opposite of safety. Sigmund Freud noticed a strange version of this back in 1920. He saw that his patients rarely avoided their past traumas. Instead, they actively arranged their adult lives to recreate the exact painful dynamics they survived as children. He called this repetition compulsion. When you find yourself in the same painful relationship loop for the 4th time, you are operating a highly efficient biological machine. It is seeking out the exact survival environment you already know how to navigate. This is why intellect alone rarely saves us. Consider an emergency room doctor. Call her Shalini. She knows the psychology, she's done years of therapy, and can spot a red flag. Yet she still falls hard and fast for an emotionally volatile partner who disappears for days at a time. Her brain knows the danger, but it gets outvoted by her body. That relationship template is stored as procedural memory down in the basal ganglia, the same region that remembers how to ride a bike. It reacts fast, wordlessly, and long before your thoughtful, book-reading cortex gets a say. This is a chart comparing the neurochemical impact of different kinds of affection. The flat, steady baseline shows how consistent love registers in the brain, safe but neurologically quiet. Over here, the spiking, erratic line shows the effect of unpredictable love. When affection is warm, gone, and then warm again, it mimics a slot machine. The agonizing wait for it fixed back hijacks your dopamine system, turning random reward into an addictive cycle. This chemistry often locks into a specific mental filter. If childhood taught you that love was conditional, something you had to be quiet enough, useful enough, or good enough to earn, then a partner who demands an audition feels like a perfect match. Steady love registers as suspicious, like a check that's going to bounce, because it doesn't match the childhood math, where suffering was the price of being wanted. That sense of passion is the sound of the machine lighting up on the pull of the lever. It is the biological signature of addiction, validating an ancient, unfinished hope of finally getting it right this time. Breaking this cycle requires acknowledging that intellectual insight is only the map, it isn't the actual walk. You cannot think your way out of a physiological pattern that was never installed by thinking. The real work happens in the body. The first visible step is learning how to separate genuine romantic compatibility from sheer nervous system activation. Pay attention to the visceral symptoms that hit within the first hour of meeting someone: the racing heart, the sudden drop in your stomach, the absolute overwhelming certainty that you have found the exact right person. We are taught to read those physical reactions as destiny. In reality, a racing heart on a first date is usually just a childhood smoke alarm going off in a house that isn't actually on fire. When you finally decide to date someone steady, available, and completely kind, you have to prepare yourself for the immediate consequence. At first, it will likely feel incredibly flat, even boring. That flatness signals the absence of a threat. It is what safety feels like to a nervous system that has never been given the chance to trust it. The practice is resisting the urge to chase away the boredom by running back to chaos. You have to sit in that quiet discomfort long enough for your body to finally learn a brand new definition for the word safe. Our nervous systems are highly plastic. The old map is written in ink, but the ink isn't permanent. Every time you choose to stay through the strangeness of being treated well, healthy interaction writes a completely new line over the old model. You aren't broken. You are simply intensely loyal to a 6-year-old who is still waiting for the story to end differently. Now you are finally old enough to write them a gentler ending.